30 seconds and counting. Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
Roger, we got a roll program.
Tower cleared.
Roger, roll. Roll complete and ignition program. One Bravo. Houston, you're good at 1 minute.
July 16th, 1969. Colonel Edwin E. Aldrin, Jr., Lieutenant Colonel Michael Collins, and Neil A. Armstrong riding atop a mighty Saturn V rocket, snug in their Apollo 11 command module, lifting off from Cape Kennedy to begin a 251,000-mile flight to the moon and a rendezvous with man's closest celestial neighbor. An adventure for mankind, fulfillment of a national goal set 8 years earlier. In those years, other men had flown in spaceships, and some had flown to and around the moon. But Apollo 11's two spacecraft, the command ship Columbia and the lunar module Eagle, were to take men to the moon and put two of them on her surface. In the first critical minutes of the Apollo 11 flight, the decision had to be made whether Apollo could leave the Earth's environment and begin the long journey toward the moon. Translunar injection, TLI.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. You are go for TLI, over. Apollo 11, thank you. Roger out.
A crucial moment, the firing of Columbia's rocket to put Apollo 11 on her path to the moon.
Ignition. We confirm ignition, and the thrust is go. Apollo 11, this is Houston at 1 minute. Trajectory and guidance look good, and the stage is good, over. Apollo 11, roger. 35,000 feet per second. Cut off. Going velocity 35,570 feet per second. Altitude 177 nautical miles. Houston, Apollo 11 and Saturn gave us a magnificent ride. Roger, 11, we'll pass that on, and it certainly looks like you're well on your way now.
On their way to the moon, their two spaceships linked together, the Apollo 11 crew presented the first of a number of television broadcasts, their transmission originating 130,000 miles from Earth.
Houston, the definition is pretty good on our monitor here. The color's not too varsity, at least on this set. Could you describe what you're looking at, over? Roger, you're seeing Earth as we see it at our left-hand window. It's a little more than a half Earth. We're looking at the eastern Pacific Ocean. In the north half of the top half of the screen, we can see North America, Alaska, United States, Canada, Mexico, and Central America. South America becomes invisible just off beyond the terminator or inside the shadow. You can see the oceans with a definite blue cast. See white bands of major cloud formations across the Earth. And in the coastlines, pick out the western U.S., San Joaquin Valley, the Sierra Mountain Range, the peninsula of Baja California, and can see some cloud formations over southeastern U.S. There's one definite mild storm southwest of Alaska, looks like about 500 to 1,000 miles, and another very minor storm showing the south end of the screen near the, a long way south of the equator, probably 45 degrees or more south latitude. Pick out the browns in the landforms pretty well. The greens do not show up very well. Some green showing along the northwestern coast of the United States and northwestern coast of Canada.
Hey, world, hold on to your hat. I'm going to turn you upside down. 11, that's a pretty good roll there. That's pretty sloppy, Charlie. Let me try that one again. You'll never beat out the Thunderbirds. I'm making myself seasick doing it, Charlie. I'll just put you back right side up where you belong. Roger. 11, Houston, if you could comply, we'd like to see some smiling faces up there. If you could give us some interior views, I'm sure everybody'd like to see you over.
Okay, we'll reconfigure the PD for that.
Roger. That's Big Mike Collins there. Well, you got a little bit of... Yeah, hello there, sports fans. You got a little bit of me, plus Neil's in the center couch, and Buzz is doing the camera work this time. Roger. Well, I put on a coat and tie if I'd known about this ahead of time. Is Buzz holding your cue cards for you, over? Cue cards, heaven no. We have no intention of competing with the professionals, believe me. We are very comfortable up here, though. We do have a happy home. There's plenty of room for the three of us, and I think we're all learning to find our favorite little corner to sit in. The zero G is very comfortable, but after a while you get to the point where you sort of get tired of rattling around and banging off the ceiling and the floor and the side, so you tend to find a little corner somewhere and put your knees up or something like that to wedge yourself in, and that seems more at home.
The astronauts seemed at ease and taking their epic voyage in stride. But the men on Earth at the Houston Manned Space Flight Center could hardly control their excitement as the astronauts televised again, this time showing Buzz Aldrin climbing into the lunar module, docked to the Columbia command ship.
11, Houston, we're really amazed at the quality of the picture up in the tunnel. It's really superb, over. That is considering the amount of light up in there.
We're about to open the hatch now.
Right.
Buzz Aldrin reporting that he's halfway into the LEM. This view is inside the LEM cabin.
Hey, that's a great shot right there. We see you in there. Guess that's Neil and Mike. Better be, anyway. See you waving.
Buzz Aldrin has apparently carried the camera into the LEM with him, showing as Neil Armstrong and Mike Collins back in the CSM.
But as Apollo 11 hurtled toward the moon, the tricky business of putting the spacecraft into orbit around the moon. Saturday, July 19th, LOI, Lunar Orbit Insertion.
Apollo 11, this is Houston, over.
Roger, go ahead, Houston, Apollo 11.
11, this is Houston. You are go for LOI, over.
Roger, go for LOI.
And then Columbia Eagle, Armstrong, Aldrin, and Collins slipped behind the moon.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. All your systems are looking good going around the corner. We'll see you on the other side, over. Roger. Everything looks okay up here.
Roger out.
And we've had loss of signal as Apollo 11 goes behind the moon.
Behind the moon, out of sight, out of communication. Long minutes, and crucial ones, as Apollo 11 fires its engine behind the moon to go into orbit. On Earth, men wait for the spaceship to reappear. They wait for AOS, acquisition of signal.
Madrid AOS. Madrid AOS.
Hey, loud and clear, Houston, LS.
Roger, reading you the same now. Could you repeat your burn status report? We copied the residuals and burn time, and that was about it. Send the whole thing again, please.
It was right perfect. Delta take 0, burn time 557. CAD values on the angle, VGX minus 0.1, VGY minus 0.1, VGZ plus 0.1, no trim, minus 6.8 on Delta PC. Fuel was 38.8, Mach 39.0, plus 50 unbalanced. We ran an increase on the pug. Now 44 showed us, 60.9 by 169.9.
Roger, we copy your burn status report.
Busy, breathtaking moments now, perfecting their orbit of the moon, checking the lunar lander, and turning their cameras down to the moon's surface to show the people of Earth their celestial neighbor close up.
So we're getting a beautiful picture in down here now, 11. The color's coming in quite clearly, and we can see the horizon and the relative blackness of space. And without getting into the question of grays and browns, it looks, at least on our monitor, sort of a brownish gray.
It appears to me as though it made a difference just sitting back in the tunnel and gazing at all windows. It makes a difference which one you're looking out of. For example, the camera right now is looking out the number 5 window, and it definitely gives a rosier or tanner tinge, especially when you look straight through it and not at an angle over.
Roger.
Yeah, the crater that's in the center of the screen now is Webb. We'd be looking straight down on it at about 6 minutes before power descent. It has a relatively flat bottom to the crater, and you can see maybe 2 or 3 craters that are in the bottom of it. On the western wall, the wall that's now nearest to the camera, or near the bottom of the screen, we can see a dimple crater just on the outside. And then coming back toward the bottom of the screen and to the left, you can see a series of depressions. It's this type of connected craters that give us most interest to discover why they're in the particular patterns that they're in. I'll zoom the camera in and try and give you a little closer look at this.
Roger, we're observing the dimple crater now. The central peak that we can see on the orbiter photos doesn't seem to stand out very well here.
Well, they're not central peaks, they're depressions in the center.
Roger.
For Americans on Earth, it is Saturday, then Sunday, July 20th. But for the 3 men of Apollo, Earth time no longer has meaning. They use Sunday for final checks of the Eagle lunar landing craft and preparations for the landing on the moon. Once again, behind the moon, they perform a vital maneuver, separation of the LM from the command ship. The men of Earth wait for AOS, wait for the signal from Columbia and Eagle.
Roger, Eagle, I'm Doc.
Roger, how does it look?
The Eagle has wings.
Roger.
Looking good.
Roger, Neil, we got if you give us crew and data, we got the loads for you.
The Eagle has wings, and those imaginary wings, the LEM does not actually have wings, must now carry Eagle down to an altitude of 50,000 feet. The maneuver begins behind the moon, and once again, Earth waits for acquisition of signal from the two ships.
We are now coming up on 30 seconds to acquisition of the command module. And we'll stand by for that event.
Columbia, Houston, over. Houston, Columbia, reading you loud and clear. How many? Roger, bye, Mike. How did it go, over? Listen, Dave, everything's going just swimmingly. Beautiful. Great. We're standing by for Eagle. Okay, he's coming along. We copy out. Good Eagle, how do you read? Bye, Eagle. We're standing by for your burn report, over. Roger, the burn was on time. The residuals before nulling, -0.1, -0.4, -0.1. X and Z null to 0.
And now 3 new initials, PDI, Powered Descent Initiation. In ordinary language, beginning the landing on the moon.
Eagle, Houston, we rig you now. You're a go for PDI, over. Roger, understand. Lights on. One, 0. Mission 10%.
That's 20 seconds, everything looking good. We show altitude about 47,000 feet. Good radar data. Altitude now 33,500 feet. We're still go. Altitude 27,000 feet.
Same alarm, and it appears to come up when we have a 1668 up. Roger, copy. Eagle, Houston, we'll monitor your Delta H. Beautifully. Delta H is looking good now. Roger, Delta H is looking good to us. Wow. Throttle on time. Roger, copy, throttle down. Throttle down. Set him in the simulator. Roger. Eggs and things look real close.
Altitude now 21,000 feet, still looking very good. Velocity down now to 1,200 feet per second.
You're looking great to us, Eagle. Okay, I'm still on flu, so we may tend to lose as we gradually pitch over. Let me try auto again now, see what happens. Roger. Okay, looks like it's holding. Roger, we got good data.
The Eagle skims the moon at 20,000 feet, and then...
We're go, same type, we're go. 2,000 feet, 2,000 feet, into the ag, 47 degrees. Roger. 47 degrees. Eagle looking great, your go.
Altitude 1,600. 1,400 feet, still looking very good.
Roger, 1202, we copy it. 35 degrees. 35 degrees, 750, coming down to 23. 700 feet, 21 down, 33 degrees. 100 feet, down at 19. 540 feet, down at 30, down at 15. At 400 feet, down at 9. 8 forward. 1050 feet, down at 4. 33 and a half down. They're pegged on horizontal velocity. 300 feet down, 3.5. 47 forward. Hold up. On 1.5 down. 70. 50 down at 2.5. 19 forward. Altitude velocity light. 3.5 down. 220 feet. 13 forward. 11 forward, coming down nicely, 200 feet. 4.5 down. 5.5 down. 160 feet, 6.5 down. 5.5 down. 9 forward. Good. 120 feet. 100 feet, 3.5 down. 9 forward. 5%. 185. Okay, 75 feet. That's looking good. Down a half. 6 forward. 60 seconds. Lights on. 6. Down 2.5. Forward. Forward. Good. 40 feet, down 2.5. Picking up some dust. 30 feet, 2.5 down. Straight shadow. 4 forward. 4 forward, drifting to the right a little. 20, down a half. 30 seconds. Forward, just. Good. Okay. Backlight. Okay, engine stop. ACA at a descent. Mode control both auto, descent engine command override off. Engine arm off. 413 is in. We copy you down, Eagle. Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. At the foot of the ladder. The LEM footpads are only depressed in the surface about 1 or 2 inches. Although the surface appears to be very, very fine-grained as you get close to it. It's almost like a powder. Ground mass is very fine. Yeah, I'm going to step off the LEM now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. The surface is fine and powdery. I can pick it up loosely with my toe. It does adhere in fine layers, like powdered charcoal to the sole and sides of my boot.
The time on Earth, 10:56 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, July 20th, 1969. A man has stepped on the surface of the moon. Neil Armstrong, an American, looking cumbersome in a white spacesuit, but moving easily and gracefully in the 1/6 gravity of the moon. The world watches and listens on live television. And in a little while, the second man to walk on the moon, Edwin Aldrin, comes down Eagle's ladder.
Be sure not to lock it on my way out.
Particularly good thought.
That's our home for the next couple hours. We want to take good care of it. Okay, I'm on the top step and I can look down over the RCU and landing gear pad. It's a very simple matter to hop down from one step to the next.
Yes, I found it to be very comfortable, and walking is also very comfortable. You've got 3 more steps and then a long one.
Okay, I'm going to leave that 1 foot up there and both hands down to about the 4th rung up.
There you go.
Okay, now I think I'll do the same.
1 more. About another inch. There, you got it?
That's a good step.
Yep. About a 3-footer.
view.
Isn't that something? Magnificent sight out here.
Magnificent desolation.
2 hours and 31 minutes will pass before the two men are back in their spaceship. And in that time, they will have a full schedule of work. Astronaut Armstrong uncovers a plaque on the LEM to mark this most historic of all moments.
For those who haven't read the plaque, we'll read the plaque that's on the front landing gear of this LEM. There's two hemispheres, one showing each of the two hemispheres of Earth. Underneath it says, "Dear men from the planet Earth, first set foot upon the moon, July 1969 AD. It came in peace for all mankind." It has the crew members' signatures and the signature of the President of the United States.
The President of the United States himself reached out across the gulf of space to speak not only for himself, but all the world. Mission Control in Houston put through the call.
Tranquility Base, this is Houston. Could we get both of you on the camera for a minute, please?
Say again, Houston.
Roger, we'd like to get both of you on the field of view of the camera for a minute.
Roger, let's get both of you on the field of view of the camera for a minute.
Neil and Buzz, the President of the United States is in his office now and would like to say a few words to you. Over.
Would be an honor.
Go ahead, Mr. President. This is Houston out.
Hello, Neil and Buzz. I'm talking to you by telephone from the Oval Room at the White House. And this certainly has to be the most historic telephone call ever made. I just can't tell you how proud we all are of what you... For every American, this has to be the proudest day of our lives. And for people all over the world, I am sure they too join with America in recognizing what an immense feat this is. Because of what you have done, the heavens have become a part of man's world. And as you talk to us from the Sea of Tranquility, it inspires us to redouble our efforts to bring peace and tranquility to Earth. For one priceless moment in the whole history of man, all the people on this earth are truly one. One in their pride in what you have done, and one in our prayers that you will return safely to Earth.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great honor and privilege for us to be here representing not only the United States, but men of peace of all nations, and with interest and a curiosity and with a vision for the future. Honor for us to be able to participate here today.
And thank you very much, and I look forward, all of us look forward to seeing you on the Hornet on Thursday. Look forward to that very much, sir.
But before that rendezvous back on Earth, Armstrong and Aldrin had more work to do, collecting samples of rock and soil from the moon, pictures to take, and the takeoff from the moon's surface.
Tranquility Base, Houston.
Roger, go ahead.
Roger, our guidance recommendation is pings, and you're cleared for takeoff.
Roger, understand. We're number one on the runway.
Roger.
For the first time, a spacecraft takes off from the moon.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, port stage, engine arm ascent, proceed. Beautiful. 26, 36 feet per second up. 5 for the pitch over. Very smooth.
Off the moon's surface, Eagle looks for and finds Columbia, the command ship with astronaut Collins waiting to link up with Eagle. Then swinging behind the moon again to fire their engine for TEI, trans-Earth injection, heading home.
Hello, Apollo 11, Houston, how did it go, over? Open up the LRL doors, Charlie.
Roger, we got you coming home. It's well stocked.
In the language of the astronauts, LRL means the Lunar Receiving Laboratory, where they and their moon samples will be in quarantine for a time after their return to Earth. And as they sped back to their home, each of the astronauts summed up what this adventure meant.
This is the commander of Apollo 11. 100 years ago, Jules Verne wrote a book about a voyage to the moon. His spaceship, Columbia, took off from Florida, landed in the Pacific Ocean after completing a trip to the moon. Seems appropriate to us to share with you some of the reflections of the crew as the modern-day Columbia completes its rendezvous with the planet Earth in the same Pacific Ocean tomorrow. Here's Mike Collins.
Roger, this trip of ours to the moon may have looked to you simple or easy. I'd like to assure you that has not been the case. The Saturn V rocket, which put us into orbit, is an incredibly complicated piece of machinery, every piece of which works flawlessly. This computer up above my head has a 38,000 word vocabulary, each word of which has been very carefully chosen to be of the utmost value to us, the crew. This switch, which I have in my hand now, has over 300 counterparts in the command module alone. There's one single switch design. In addition to that, there are myriad of circuit breakers, levers, rods, and other associated controls. The SPS engine, our large rocket engine, on the aft end of our service module, must have performed flawlessly or we would have been stranded in lunar orbit. The parachutes up above my head must work perfectly tomorrow or we will plummet into the ocean. We have always had confidence that all this equipment will work and work properly, and we continue to have confidence that it will do so for the remainder of the flight. All this is possible only through the blood, sweat, and tears of a number of people. First, the American workmen who put these pieces of machinery together at the factory. Second, the painstaking work done by the various test teams during the assembly and the retest after assembly. Finally, the people at the Manned Spacecraft Center, both in management, in mission planning, in flight control, and last but not least, in crew training. This operation is somewhat like the periscope of a submarine. All you see is the three of us, but beneath the surface are thousands and thousands of others. To all those, I would like to say thank you very much.
11, this is Houston. We're getting a good picture of buzz now, but no voice modulation. And would you open up the f-stop on the TV camera? Try 22, please. It appears to be a lot better now. We're still not receiving buzz's audio.
Good evening. I'd like to discuss with you a few of the more symbolic aspects of the flight of our mission Apollo 11. As we've been discussing the events that have taken place in the past 2 or 3 days here on board our spacecraft, we've come to the conclusion that this has been far more than 3 men on a voyage to the moon. More still than the efforts of a government and industry team. More even than the efforts of one nation. We feel that this stands as a symbol of the insatiable curiosity of all mankind to explore the unknown. Neil's statement the other day upon first setting foot on the surface of the moon, this is a small step for a man, but a great leap for mankind, I believe sums up these feelings very nicely. We accepted the challenge of going to the moon. The acceptance of this challenge was inevitable. The relative ease with which we carried out our mission, I believe, is a tribute to the timeliness of that acceptance. Today, I feel we're fully capable of accepting expanded roles in the exploration of space. In retrospect, we have all been particularly pleased with the call signs that we very laboriously chose for our spacecraft, Columbia and Eagle. We've been particularly pleased with the emblem of our flight, depicting the U.S. Eagle, bringing the universal symbol of peace from the Earth, from the planet Earth, the moon, that symbol being the olive branch. With our overall crew choice to deposit a replica of this symbol on the moon. Recently, in reflecting the events of the past several days, a verse from the Psalms comes to mind to me. I consider the heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast ordained. What is man that thou art mindful of him? Responsibility for this flight lies first with history and with the giants of science who have preceded this effort. Next to the American people, who have, through their will, indicated their desire. Next to 4 administrations and their Congresses for implementing that will. And then to the agency and industry team who built our spacecraft. The Saturn, the Columbia, the Eagle, and the little EMU, the spacesuit and backpack that was our small spacecraft out on the lunar surface. I'd like to give a special thanks to all those Americans who built those spacecraft, did the construction, the design, the test, and put their heart, all their abilities into those craft. To those people, tonight we give a special thank you. And to all the other people that are listening and watching tonight, a pleasure. Good night from Apollo 11.
Thursday, July 24th, 1969. Splashdown in the Pacific. And although they were shielded in quarantine, a welcome for the Apollo 11 crew aboard the recovery ship Hornet by Richard M. Nixon, President of the United States.
Neil, Buzz, and Mike, I want you to know that I think I'm the luckiest man in the world. And I say this not only because I have the honor to be President of the United States, but particularly because I have the privilege of speaking for so many and welcoming you back to Earth. I can tell you about all the messages we've received in Washington. Over 100 foreign governments, emperors and presidents and prime ministers and kings have sent the most warm messages that we've ever received. They represent over 2 billion people on this earth, all of them who have had the opportunity through television to see what you have done. And then I also bring you messages from members of the cabinet and members of the Senate and members of the House and the Space Agency, from the streets of San Francisco, where people stopped me a few days ago, and you all love that city, I know, as I do. But most important, I had a telephone call yesterday. The toll wasn't incidentally as great as the one I made to you fellows on the moon. I made that collect incidentally, in case you didn't know. But I called in my view, 3 of the greatest ladies and most courageous ladies in the whole world today, your wives. And from Jan and Joan and Pat, I bring their love and their congratulations. We think it's just wonderful that they could have participated, at least through television, in this return. We're only sorry they couldn't be here. And also, I've got to let you in a little secret. I made a date with them. I invited them to dinner on the 13th of August, right after you come out of quarantine. It will be a state dinner held in Los Angeles. The governors of all the 50 states will be there, the ambassadors, others from around the world and in America. And they told me that you would come too. And all I want to know, will you come? We want to honor you then.
I'll do anything you say, Mr. President. Anytime.
One question I think that all of us would like to ask, as we saw you bouncing around in that boat out there, I wonder if that wasn't the hardest part of the journey. Was that the only, did any of you get seasick?
No, we didn't, and it was one of the harder parts, but it was one of the most pleasant, we can assure you.
Yeah. Well, I just know that you can sense what we all sense when you get back now. Incidentally, you've been able to follow some of the things that happened when you've gone. Did you know about the All-Star game?
Yes, sir. The capsule communicators have been giving us
They keep
daily
you
news
posted.
reports.
Yeah. Were you American League or National League?
I'm a National League man.
National League.
Nonpartisan, sir.
Yeah, that's right. There's the politician in the group, right.
We're sorry you missed that game.
Yes. Well, oh, you knew that too? You
Yeah, we heard that
yeah, the rain.
the rain.
Right.
Well, we haven't learned to control the weather yet, but that's something we can look forward to as tomorrow's challenge.
Right. Well, I can only summarize it because I don't want to hold you now. You have so much more to do. And, gee, you look great. You feel as good as you look. You're great.
Feel just perfect, Mr. President.
Yeah. Are you? I understand Frank Borman says you're a little younger by reason of having going into space. Is that right? Do you feel that way, a little younger?
We're a lot younger than Frank Borman.
There he is over there. Come on over, Frank, so they can see you. And you going to take that line down?
It looks like he has aged in the last couple of weeks.
Come on, Frank.
Mr. President, the one thing I want is, we have a poet in Mike Collins, and he really gave me a hard time for describing the words of fantastic and beautiful. And I counted them. In 3 minutes up there, you used 4 fantastics and 2 beautifuls.
Well, just let me close off with this one thing. I was thinking as you know, as you came down, and we knew it was a success, and it had only been 8 days, just a week, a long week, that this is the greatest week in the history of the world since the creation. Because as a result of what happened in this week, the world is bigger infinitely. And also, as I'm going to find on this trip around the world, and the Secretary Rogers will find that he covers the other countries in Asia. As a result of what you've done, the world's never been closer together before. And we just thank you for that. And I only hope that all of us in government, all of us in America, that as a result of what you've done, we can do our job a little better. We can reach for the stars just as you have reached so far from the stars. We don't want to hold you any longer. Anybody have a last word? How about promotions? Do you think we could arrange something?
We're just pleased to be back and very honored that you were so kind as to come out here and welcome us back. And we look forward to getting out of this quarantine and talking without having glass between us.
All right. And incidentally, the speeches that you have to make at this dinner can be very short. And if you want to say fantastic or beautiful, that's all right with us. Don't try to think of any new adjectives. They've all been said.